Everybody? It's been a little bit. Can you see the mountain behind me? Yeah, you sort of can. Um, yeah, I'm still at the same place, just another spot. Um, Man, can you see my unibrow too? I didn't bring a trimmer, so I'm just not shaving, and I have this one crazy unibrow hair. So now you all know my secret. It's not really a secret. I also found this leaf, this plant. I wish I could transmit the smell through the camera. It smells like minty and fruity and floral all at the same time. It's like some type of chewing gum or something. It's crazy. I'm obsessed with it. Anyways, yeah, it's been kind of a chunk of time. And yeah, I did my first really deep San Pedro cactus journey last Wednesday, and it wasn't my first ever, but it was the first like really deep experience where it was more the ceremony was more focused on introspection, and it was less ceremonial and more contemporary, I guess you could say. So focused on it's just between you and the medicine, really, and there's this beautiful garden, and you just go off by yourself and sit and be in your experience for the whole day. And that was really what I needed. It was amazing because there's the personal space to be in my experience without worrying about how it's impacting anyone else or what I look like, or all those self-conscious things. And yeah, what surprised me was I cleared a ton of energy from the lower three chakras. My intention was divine love, and in my heart, in my body, and we didn't quite get all the way there, but we kind of approached it from a different angle that I wasn't expecting. And I guess that's pretty normal to be surprised by what happens, even though it still aligns with the intention. So yeah, it took a few hours for it to really connect, and I was a little distracted maybe, or having some random thoughts. But once it really clicked in, I was looking up at the clouds, and I started seeing stuff in the clouds, like images and patterns, and some of it was abstract, some of it was more concrete, but it all felt very much like an externalization of my own fears and shame, and it was like showing up in the clouds, but it wasn't uncomfortable. It was actually really beautiful, and it was like seeing stuff that was inside me, mostly fear energy, really, and like death and stuff. It was like one moment I remember distinctly where it was like suddenly a bunch of skulls. It was kind of cool. But stuff that normally is really ick, feelings and stuff, that because it was out in the sun and the wind, is just beautiful, and it was clearing as it was out there. And it was also clearing through intense somatic pushing, almost in a like an orgasmic energy, just like pushing out from my core and out my limbs. So I don't know if you've ever done breath work, like holotropic breath work, and you get your hands start to kind of like do this, and then they're like so tight, and it is just tingly and paralyzed and pushing out all this energy. It was a little bit like that, but not really. But I felt the same thing of, I just knew that was clearing stuff, that was stuff from inside that was pushing out my limbs, and I was pushing it like this kind of like and it was just pushing energy out really intensely. I would say it was just like, because we were outside, the sun and the wind was just clearing all this stuff away as I'm clearing it. I actually went inside briefly to use the bathroom, and suddenly it felt like all that energy that was leaving me was getting amplified in the space, and it felt really bad, and I like immediately ran outside. I almost had to puke. I was like suddenly like, oh, this feels really bad. I was like freaked out. And when I went back outside, it just started clearing off again really smoothly. So definitely something special about being outdoors. and airing it all out, quite literally, all that energy, and the earth just transmuting it into beauty. Yeah, I think the two things that prepared me best for this ceremony, and I'm not prescribing this by any means, but over the last year I've done a lot of intentional cannabis work. So a little different than like your typical like, oh, I'm just gonna get high because it's fun. I mean, not that I didn't do that too sometimes, but a lot of really deep introspective work where I'd be having insights and navigating internal realms, and somatic releasing and stuff like that, that be brought on by the cannabis. And so yeah, I think there's real power in connecting with that plant intentionally. If you're really clear, and you need to remember your intention, because it's easy to get swept away in like distractions once you're high and you're like, whoa, all these other things that could pull my attention. One second, I'm gonna take my hoodie off, it's getting hot. The temperature out here changes so quickly. It'll be sunny and you'll be really hot, and then suddenly it'll be rainy and you'll be cold. And anyways, glad for some sun right now. It's been a little rainy the last few days. So yeah, there's real power to connecting with cannabis with intention if you really hold yourself to that standard and commit to turning towards the inner work instead of away from it as a distraction, because it can work both ways. And then the other thing that really prepared me well for this journey was actually sexual alchemy work. And at some point I'll make a full video just completely about that and my journey with that, because it's a super important topic, I know, at least especially for men. But in the context of this journey, it just prepared me to know what it feels like to move sexual energy throughout the entire body in a way that is quite different from the typical orgasm experience that most guys have normally. So having a little experience with that really allowed me to move through it with confidence and grace, and like know that I was just like doing this thing. And it was different, you know, it was like clearing energy in a way that I don't normally experience, but it didn't feel too scary or unfamiliar because of that preparation work. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I will at some point post a full in-depth story about my my journey with that, and hopefully that's helpful to some guys. Yeah, so anyways, it was a lot. I was exhausted, I was dead. And it's so bright out now I can't even see my screen to see if I'm like, yeah. Yeah, it was I guess the next piece is just talking about the integration afterwards. I was really tired the next couple of days, but had a lot of errands to run, so I kind of pushed through it. But as soon as I got that stuff done, like, so literally the last 3 days I have been in bed. Like, today's the first day I'm like, oh, I think I'll get up and like talk on the camera, and I've literally been in bed, and the pushing and clearing out of energy has continued. In a little bit of a different way. A lot of burping actually is kind of funny, but yeah, it's just like blip, and clearing out just like that, you know. Yeah. So I've just been in that. I've just been sitting in that process and allowing, just trusting that is unfolding still, and there's not much I can do other than just be with it, because I'm too tired to do anything else. But honestly, I think one thing that I've been sitting with the last few days is like, man, I so fucking badly want change, like deep transformation. Like, I want to get home from this trip and feel like a brand new person in some way, whether that's like a new type of embodiment in my connection with myself, or it's like some clarity about what I'm doing and some spark of passion of who I am and why I'm here. And so far, like, a lot's happened and a lot's changed, but I still don't feel profoundly changed. And I'm hoping that this rogue hair. I'm hoping that I'll start to feel the tangible results of that, because I know I'm putting in the work. But yeah, that yearning is so deep. It's like, man. And honestly, like, looking at my trip so far, I haven't really been having that much fun. There's been good days where I've gone on like hike or connected with someone and felt great, or yeah, but by and large, this trip has been marked by a lot of me like becoming aware of my own fear. It's been magnified here, and a lot of that shifted during this last ceremony, where I'm like not as afraid of what's inside of me, but I still carry a lot of fear. And yeah, it's, I'm not sure what else to say about it right now, other than just that yearning for transformation is so deep. And I think it's almost left me feeling a little depressed at times, because I'm just like, man, I just don't feel different yet, you know? And I mean, I'm a little different, but I think that like the deeper that desire for change, I mean, the whole reason I'm here in Peru is because that desire got so strong that I was like, you know what? I don't have money for this trip, but I'm gonna do it anyways and go into debt. And is just, I just can't keep sitting and being in the same place, you know? I can't remember if I've already mentioned this book I was reading recently before departing. Well, listening, I do more audiobooks, but it's called The Journey of Soul Initiation by Bill Plotkin. And I don't know, how can I consolidate a book into a few sentences? I guess just the one thing that stuck with me from it so far, I mean, the whole book's been great, it's been amazing, but it's just that when someone really, really wants, when someone is tired of living out the old identity, tired of living from this basic life of like, I just do what I think I should do, or navigate life from this linear perspective, it opens the door to something way deeper emerging that he defines as soul. And he has an unconventional definition of what soul is, but in more or less words, for him it means the unique ecological niche that a unique being is meant to fulfill, and in the greater system of nature and in the world and society. And that reveals itself to you through kind of mythic encounters with the subconscious or with spirit or with nature. And you need to be open to surrendering your identity to that. And I've had at least one such experience, and it's been kind of more of like a guidepost that I refer to, and there's like some archetypal symbolism in there that I kind of connect with and start to piece together some sense of that. But there's something that has to happen where like it all just falls away and something new emerges, and that's terrifying. But when you want it badly enough, you're willing to die for it, you know, your ego is willing to die. So yeah, definitely if you're desperate for something new, I would recommend that book, because I can't do it justice in this video. I guess the only update I'll share about just what's been going on is that oh damn it, I just remembered I'm filming vertical again. I said I wouldn't do that, but now I can't change now because I'm halfway through the video. I'm such an amateur. It's fucking hilarious. But hey, with all the AI content, maybe someone who's bad at videography is refreshing, huh? So what was I saying? That's right. There's this next place I'm gonna stay, and I've been hesitant because they're very rigid. They're sort of like an intentional community. I just felt the urge to like turn around and stuff. They're an intentional community that at first I was really excited about, because I was like, oh cool, they do medicine ceremonies on the weekends, and they seem like they're really careful about vetting who they let in and things like that. But the more I've talked to them, the more is just all these really weird and constrictive rules keep emerging. I won't even get into that, like, well, all their rules, but it starts to feel like there's very little personal freedom or room to explore what feels naturally called to you. You're like prescribed to this constraint. Their justification for it is because they're very much about lineage and tradition, and I respect the concept of both of those concepts, but I do think that well, what do I know? You know, I'm not really a lineage or tradition carrier myself, and it's a fine line to know when those things serve and when they become dogmatic or even patriarchal, and how colonization too has impacted things like that, even if they think whatever, I don't know. But I think more, you know, on a personal level, I started to feel like I don't want to go there. It doesn't sound fun. But you know me, when I don't know what to do, I go talk to a psychic reader, because I don't trust my own intuition yet. And maybe you don't either. So I have work to do there for sure. But anyways, I do trust the particular person I work with currently. I have not been let down yet by her guidance, and it does feel like she's connecting to those higher realms and kind of the guidance that I resonate with as far as spiritual band frequency bands go. So she said that I am meant to go there, very much specifically because of the way they are like that, because it will trigger it will trigger I don't know exactly what yet, but it'll trigger stuff for me because of the constrictiveness in a way that may remind me of different certain scenarios of childhood or whatever, what have you. It's almost culty. I'm just gonna say it. Like, they're not quite a cult, because I don't feel like they're trying to love bomb me or like they're not trying to force anyone to stay who doesn't want to stay. You know, I don't get that vibe. I've kind of sussed them out a good bit at this point. But they are, yeah, the constrictiveness is going to trigger me, and that triggering will help bring up stuff that will enable it to be healed. And I think there's just an important note about that in general for reflection, because, and I was talking to another friend who said something similar, or something very wise along that vein of a lot of times healing goes somewhat counterintuitive to what you would typically go towards, because our self-guidance system is based around orienting towards safety, and our sense of safety is conditioned by our trauma and our triggers and our fears. So we tend to avoid certain things. So there's actually sometimes a need to deliberately turn towards something that you know you don't like, or know that might trigger you. Don't be stupid about it. I mean, don't make sure you're safe and make sure you're taking care of yourself. But to sometimes, when you feel ready to turn towards something that is uncomfortable because you actually need to like lean into it to transmute it or see it differently, or just to clear it and change it and heal it. So that is why I'm doing something I literally don't want to do. Like, I could have so much more fun doing other stuff, being somewhere else, and thankfully I only have to stay there a week. um, so I will be able to do other stuff, but I am sacrificing some other possibilities that could have been way more fun to stay in this almost cult, spiritual cult. But I feel safe about it because I've really sussed it out, and I trust my own discernment on that and my own ability to. I think a lot of the work while I'm there will be like, I think some of their philosophy is cool, and I'll probably talk more about that as I stay with them and learn about that. And some of it I don't agree with, and just being able to be in a space where I hold my own center and like am in an environment where I can connect with people and have that like, yeah, I agree with this and I don't agree with that, and just holding clean with that and not getting muddled and mixed up and like, oh, I have to agree with everything they say, or the opposite reaction of crossing my arms and being like, oh, I don't agree with any of their stuff, and I'm just gonna close myself off to all of it and just sit there with my arms crossed, pouting, and like being energetically closed off to what I have to learn from them, because I think they do have good stuff. So I think there's a real personal empowerment there in the art of being open and also discerning and not going to either extreme by shutting down or being a pushover. So I'm excited to see, well, I'm not excited, but I'll get through it. We'll see how it goes, and I'll talk to you guys next time.